Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another game day update. I'm Kelcey. I'm joined again by Cayleigh Griffin of the Houston Rockets. It is an early game today. The Grizzlies and the Rockets will tip off at 2:30 p.m. And Cayleigh, you're on again for the 100th time. But this time, there is some big news, at least on the Grizzlies side, and that is that Ja Morant will not play today versus the Houston Rockets. Now, I'm going to throw this out. The Grizzlies are 13-2 without Ja, and there's so many people online being like, the team's better without him. That's absolutely not true, but there is a different style of play that when Ja is out that the Grizzlies are able to play, and that's because Tyus Jones facilitates the ball a lot more than he scores. So when the Houston Rockets prepare for this game, obviously you start with preparing for Ja Morant. He's out. How does that change the way that they enter this game?
Yeah, yesterday at practice, when the team was going through film and scout, they were aware that he had left the last game with those back spasms. So the team prepared for Ja, but there was also an awareness that, hey, we don't know what his status is going to be. So we have to be mindful that he might not be playing. And that was the exact notion that the team echoed yesterday was Tyus Jones is still just as dangerous, but in a different way in terms of getting his teammates involved. So the Rockets are aware, or were aware yesterday, that it might be a possibility, but they still understand how dangerous this Grizzlies team can be without him. Obviously, like you said, 13-2 without Ja on the floor. So there's a level of preparation that they have, but it is still a dangerous team regardless, because like we've seen time and time again, this Grizzlies team can hurt you in a number of different ways.
And Cayleigh, we have seen the Grizzlies hurt the Rockets. We've seen the Rockets hurt the Grizzlies. This is the fourth time these teams will play this year. Every time the home team has won. So it's the Grizzlies, the first two, the Rockets, the last game. In the last game, we had a lot of guys for the Rockets step up. 29 points from Kevin Porter Jr. Christian Wood had 28. Jalen Green with 24. The Grizzlies gave up 123 points in that game. Again, obviously a home game for you guys. How do you try and build off that momentum?
Yeah, I actually asked Kevin Porter Jr. about that yesterday. I said, obviously, you're going to have a hungry Grizzlies team coming in. They're certainly not going to forget what happened the last time they were in this building. How do you prepare? And they were really proud of the way they defended the paint and how they were able to limit those opportunities inside. Obviously, the Grizzlies weren't as hot from three, which certainly helped the Rockets at that point. And then there's an understanding of they have to be really mindful of the boards. And they did a good job on that the last time the Grizzlies were in town. And the Rockets aren't really known to be a very good rebounding team, but they came in with that mindset, and they know that, hey, the best offensive rebounder in the NBA is on the other side of the floor in Steven Adams. So the team knows that rebounding and protecting the paint is going to be a major factor in this game for them. They did a good job of it last time. Somehow they are going to have to find a way to replicate that here tonight, and that's obviously no easy task.
That's so funny because the last 2 points that I have written down are rebounding, the Grizzlies leading the way, and the Rockets dead last in terms of where they rank in the NBA points in the paint. The Grizzlies number one, the Rockets dead last in allowing points in the paint. So I'm happy you brought that up because now I'm curious. You've got Steven Adams. You're hoping as a Grizzlies, on the Grizzlies side, you're hoping Jaren Jackson Jr. plays more than 13 minutes like he did in the last game due to foul trouble. Who steps up for the Rockets, and how do you kind of defend those two big guys down low?
Yeah, the Rockets' biggest struggle, honestly, this season has been slowing down bigs. And it time and time again, it feels like opposing centers have been finishing with career highs because the Rockets just don't have the size inside. Christian Wood and Alperen Sengun do the best that they can, but they're not naturally maybe fives. They're more traditional fours. So the Rockets have had to group defend when it comes to trying to slow down. So for them, it's going to be having a low man inside, making sure those defensive rotations happen, because that's really the only way that the Rockets are going to be able to slow them down. They've got to group rebound. They've got to send five guys to grab the boards. And they did that last game, which is something that they really haven't done a ton this season. So coming in with that mindset is something that they have to do. They are certainly aware that Jaren Jackson Jr. only played for 13 minutes. That was a major point of emphasis yesterday, that they fully expect him to play a lot more minutes here today. He's not going to be in that sort of foul trouble again. So it's going to change the game a lot. And obviously losing Ja Morant is big, but Dillon Brooks wasn't playing last time either. So there's a lot of different things that the Rockets have to prepare for. And they're aware that this Grizzlies team is going to come in hungry after what happened 2 weeks ago. So it's something they're mindful of, but no easy task to try to replicate three players scoring 25 or more points as well. So the Rockets are certainly going to have their hands full today.
All right, so that's my last question for you then, Cayleigh. You got to give me your prediction, give me your one player of the game on the Rocket side. Like you said, There was 3 guys scoring a whole lot of points last time these two teams played. Wow, Kelcey, get your words out. But I'm just going to say this before you choose your player. Dillon Brooks makes a big difference because they're going to put Dillon Brooks on X, Y, and Z, whoever they think is going to score the most. So that may change the way you pick your player right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because last game I chose Eric Gordon as my X factor, and he's listed as questionable. He's missed the last few games due to an illness. So I think the expectation is he's probably out once again. We'll obviously find that out closer to game time. So that changes things. The Rockets need a big day from their bench. Dennis Schroeder has become a super important piece off the bench in terms of leading the offense and being a backup point guard. I'm going to say that they're going to need another big game out of Kevin Porter Jr. Jalen Green has really stepped up recently. He's scored in double figures in 22 straight games, 20 or more points in 9 of his last 13. So he's been pretty consistent. Christian Wood has been pretty consistent as of late as well, but Kevin Porter Jr. is the one player who can have an up and down night. He's coming off of 19 points last game. So if the Rockets are going to win, they're going to need Kevin Porter Jr. to be at his best.
All right. And I'm going to just say that exact same sentence that you just said and just apply it to Jaren Jackson Jr. We got ups, we got downs. We need him to 1, stay in the game, and 2, have a big night tonight. So Cayleigh, for today, it's 2:30, guys.
I know, today. How many times can I say tonight on the broadcast? I'm already dreading.
It's a weird one. So let's get ready for tip because we are still only a few minutes away now. Cayleigh, thank you so much. This is our last sign off of the season.
Oh, can't believe it.
That's actually really sad. Thank you so much, Cayleigh.
Of course, anytime.
And Grizzlies fans, make sure you are tuned in. 2:30 p.m. tip. It's on Valley Sports Southeast.